Hi everybody, Lori Fulbright here. So I covered a case where a woman had fallen off a ladder, broke her hip, had to go get surgery, and after surgery they're like, go to rehab so you can get stronger to go home. Lots of people have done that. When she was in the rehab facility here in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, she was raped by her nurse, the person supposed to be caring for her, and she's such in a vulnerable state, can't walk, can't move. She reports it to the facility and they're like, now you were under medication, you just dreamed it, it's not real. And so of course she starts saying to herself, was it the medication, was it a dream? And that's when she saw a hickey on her chest, and she was like, this was not the medication, this was not a dream, this is real, this is a nightmare. And she ended up having to call 911 from her hospital bed. So good for Broken Arrow police, because they believed her and they came out and they investigated and they found 6 more victims. So now you have 7 people who are sexually assaulted by their nurse when they are in a very vulnerable state. And then he gets charged and it goes to the court system. But then the victims learn that because of the way the law was written in Oklahoma at the time, the max sentence he could get for sexually assaulting all those women while they were so vulnerable was 15 years. And that's what he got, and he served a fraction of it, as we see often. But those victims, some of them spoke out publicly, and I interviewed one particular victim named Julie, and she was very vocal about sharing her story, letting people understand what this was like to endure, and then to find out that the law did not back up these victims. So the DA at the time, the district attorney's office, worked with state lawmakers, and because of this case and all the publicity and the victims being willing to tell their stories, they got that law changed. So now someone convicted of those same crimes would be eligible to go to prison for life, not just 15 years. And what I appreciate about these victims, especially Julie, is that they knew this law changing wouldn't help them, but they wanted to do it. They stood up. They were courageous and vocal because they knew it would help future victims coming forward. So this is the topic of my latest podcast. It's called The Fulbright Files. You guys can find it on youtube.com, Oklahoma Zone Originals. But I sit down with Julie again, as I've done over the years, but she tells her story and the story of the other victims, and then what it took for them to really come forward and work with the DA's office to make sure that that law got changed. So I hope you'll go to Oklahoma Zone Originals YouTube and search for The Fulbright Files and watch this case. Be safe out there.